This is Downing from the shotgun. Throwing toward the end zone. Intercepted. Picked off by David Brown of Ohio State. Racing down the sideline in front of the Ohio State bench. David Brown with a good cutback move. He's gone for a touchdown. Here's a short pass to Carlos Snow. He's got 20 yards and more. Snow on the loose, down the far sideline, all the way to the end zone. Touchdown, Buckeyes! This is Greg Fry for the go-ahead touchdown. It is caught! From Michigan Stadium on the campus of the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor, it's Ohio State football. Today, the Ohio State Buckeyes meet the Michigan Wolverines. Hello, everybody. This is Jack Kramer along with Paul Warfield, and we're delighted you could join us for all of the exciting action of Ohio State and Michigan as the Buckeyes bring down the curtain on their 100th regular season of football. Buckeyes riding the crest of a 6-game win streak. For Michigan, it's 9 in a row, Paul. Something's got to give today. It's the best rushing offense in the conference against the best rushing defense.
Well, it is a fine Michigan defense, allowing only 93 yards per rush a game. They've got outstanding people on defense. We'll be talking a lot about J.J. Grant, their fine inside linebacker, but Michigan also has an excellent secondary, so they'll present problems for Ohio State throwing and running the football. But by the same token, Ohio State comes into this ball game as the #1 team rushing the football in the Big Ten. No one has been able to stop them, so it is a big challenge for both teams.
These two teams would prefer to run the pigskin, but both pass very well.
Well, Michigan has a fine passing attack featuring 2 outstanding wide receivers in Chris Callaway and Greg McMurtry. They are perhaps the best 2 wide receivers on one team in the conference. By the same token, Ohio State, led by Greg Fry, the #1 passer in the Big Ten, he's featured several receivers on this Ohio State football team spreading the ball out, but when it comes to clutch time, he usually looks for Jeff Graham, and Jeff Graham has done an outstanding job.
Derek Iseman will try to give it a go today and produce a lift for this Ohio State defense.
Well, perhaps he can do just that. He's been hurting, of course, and had been ruled out of the ball game, but he's a tough guy and he wants to play, and it means a lot to this Ohio State football team to have him.
Well, this has been a truly great rivalry over the years since the Buckeyes entered the conference in 1913. The Wolverines have won 35 games to the Buckeyes 33. In this decade of the 80s, Michigan leads 5 games to 4. 6 of those 9 have been decided by a touchdown or less. We're seconds away from the kickoff of today's game between Ohio State and Michigan. The Buckeyes will receive the opening kickoff for Michigan. Buckeye rooters cheering on Ohio State today before 101,000 fans at Michigan Stadium. Here is the kickoff by Stapleton, and he drills it to Dante Lee at the goal line. And he's hit by a cluster of Wolverines at the 16.
On the Buckeye offensive line, Tim Moxley, Carl Coles, Dan Beatty, Jeff Davidson, Joe Stasiak. The receivers, Jim Palmer, Greg Beatty, and Jeff Graham. And the running backs today, Greg Fry at quarterback, Dante Lee substituting for the injured Carlos Snow, and Scotty Graham at the tailback position.
Greg Fry, who's had a hot hand the last 4 weeks, 7th in the country in passing efficiency, at the helm for Ohio State. Scotty Graham, outside right tackle, skirting the corner for close to 10 yards. Nearly a first down on the game's opening play by Scotty Graham, who picks right up where he left off a week ago against Wisconsin. David Key came up from his quarterback spot to flush Graham to the sideline. Right away, Paul, Buckeyes do a good job against that Wolverine rushing defense, which is giving up less than 2.5 yards per carry coming into the game.
Well, we talked about strength against strength, and so far Ohio State has won the first battle on the initial play of the ball game.
2nd and a foot. Scotty Graham picks his way, plunges for 1 yard. Appears to have picked up the first down beyond the 26. 37, Eric Anderson of Michigan in on the tackle. Wolverines along the line of scrimmage. Mike Evans, Mike Teeter, and Chris Hutchinson. Your Michigan linebackers are Alex Marshall, J.J. Grant, Eric Anderson, and Bobby Abrams. In the secondary, David Key, Trip Welburn, Veda Murray, and Todd Plate. Wolverines giving up less than 15 points a game. Buckeyes averaging over 30 per contest. This is Dante Lee skipping through a hole, slashing out to the 35. Nearly a 9-yard explosion by Lee between guard and tackle, Paul.
So far, the Buckeyes are knocking them off the ball. Dante Lee getting his first try of the ball game, and you're right, Jack, almost 9 yards on that play. It's what Ohio State is going to have to do today in trying to run the football. They want to stay out of those long second situations in which they've got long yardage.
And so far, Greg Fry and company have had 2nd and short on 2 occasions. This time 2nd and 2, short of the 35. Dante Lee hopping through a hole, fighting to the 41. A significant advance of a little more than 6 yards and a first down. Teeter on the stop for Michigan, the 257-pound senior nose guard.
So far, the Buckeyes doing a good job of utilizing that big offensive line up front. Joe Stasiak, Jeff Davidson, Dan Beatty, Carl Coles, and Tim Moxley really knocking the maize and blue off the ball.
That front wall of Ohio State opening the game much like they did out in Los Angeles against Southern Cal. Scotty Graham cracking ahead for 2, maybe 3. Michigan did a pretty good job stifling that play. Eric Anderson again in on the hit, assisted by Mike Teeter. Anderson, one of the Wolverines' leading tacklers, with 80 on the campaign. Buckeyes face a 2nd and 7, Paul. Kind of situation Greg Fry wants to stay out of as much as possible today. Pitch sweep to the right. Dante Lee looking for a crease. He's stopped. Veda Murray came up to put a jolt on Dante. Bobby Abrams also shouldered Lee. No gain. 3rd and 7 coming up. John Cooper's first trip to Michigan Stadium. Ohio State head coach John Cooper whipped Michigan in the Rose Bowl 3 years ago when he was the head man at Arizona State.
This is the kind of situation that the Buckeyes will like, as you said, Jack, to stay out of 3rd and possession. Michigan having an outstanding defensive secondary. Ohio State doesn't want to necessarily put the ball up in predictable situations.
Otis Williams is a part of the secondary as Michigan employs the nickel. Buckeyes go with the draw. Dante Lee is thrown down across the 45 at the 47, at least 3 yards away from the first down post. Chris Hutchinson, knife through to spill Dante Lee, and Ohio State must kick.
Conservative call by the Buckeyes, but Ohio State electing to play field position right at this point in the ball game.
Michigan has blocked 4 punts this year. Bowman back near his 30 to take the snap, booting against the wind. It's a low streamer. Welburn from his 15. Tovar the first to make contact at the 25. About a 6-yard return by Welburn. And the Wolverines start 1st and 10.
So, Buckeye defense you're looking at right now. Derek Eisman out there on the field, and of course the 2 coaches, John Cooper and Bo Schembechler. At it once again. Last year, Bo Schembechler's Wolverines squeezed one out in the dying minutes of that football game.
In fact, the last 3 games between these 2 teams have been decided by 3 points or less. Michael Taylor, the senior quarterback from Cincinnati Princeton, hands the ball off to Horde. He bounces off tackler, surges to the 37, very close to first down yardage. Judah Herman finally brought Horde down, and he is a load, Paul.
He certainly is. That Michigan offensive line is a big one and a good one. Doring, Dingman, Everett, Elliott, Skripanic, McMurtry, the receivers, along with Walker and Callaway, and the backfield for the Wolverines, Michael Taylor, Jared Bunch, and Leroy Horde, number 33, who you just saw. And a year ago, Jack, he rushed for 158 yards against the Buckeyes.
Horde's first dash from scrimmage, good enough for a first down for the Wolverines. Out at the 37. Of course, Horde will see a lot of duty at tailback today. Tony Bowles had arthroscopic knee surgery done on him this week. He's out. Michael Taylor, a gifted runner, good passer, calling signals. Horde again, sweeping right in, powers across the 40 to near the 45. Michigan offensive line averaging nearly 290 pounds, forging ahead. Alonzo Spellman got a piece of Horde. Buckeyes defensively along the line of scrimmage, Sreko Zizakovic, Pat Thomas, and Rich Frimmel. Your linebackers are Tom Lease, Judah Herman, Derek Eiseman, and Alonzo Spellman. In the secondary, Vinnie Clark, Zach Dumas, Mark Polini, and David Brown. Flank far left, McMurtry. Play action. Pass headed for McMurtry. It hangs up for him. He hauls it in at the 41. David Brown made the stick, but not before McMurtry took in Taylor's floater for another Wolverine first down.
Michael Taylor will fake this handoff and roll to his left, and looking downfield, throwing a corner pattern to Greg McMurtry, who goes up very high. A 3-inch advantage for McMurtry, goes up extremely high. David Brown at 6 foot, McMurtry at 6 foot 3 inches tall, and McMurtry wins that battle in a first down for Michigan.
3 plays for the Wolverines, 2 first downs. Line of scrimmage, the Ohio State 41. Horde again. He plunges to the 40. Flag is dropped in the Michigan backfield. Eiseman subdued the play. Motion call against Michigan. Your referee, John Nealon, today. Judah Herman, the Buckeyes, shaken up. John Cooper coming out to check on Ohio State sophomore linebacker. Play gained about 2 feet. What do you do here, Paul? Set the Wolverines back 5 or accept the play and make Michigan run a second down?
No first down.
No fair. He answered my question too soon.
He certainly took the pressure off of me, didn't he? This Michigan team offensively has looked impressive at this point. They certainly are fired up bunch. They're coming off the ball in good shape. Horde running extremely hard at this point in the ball game. Buckeyes are going to have to put the shoulder pads and helmets on him to slow him down.
Horde goes a good 220 pounds or more. Listed at 5'10", but he might be closer to 5'11". He's a fire plug. He's set behind Taylor. Play action. Now a forward pitch to Horde. He bumps off Frimmel. He's got about 7 yards. Spellman finally dragged him down. Well, it was Bunch who wound up with the forward pitch. Bunch 32, not Horde. But at any rate, the Wolverines get 8.
Well, Bunch or Horde, they both look the same because they're both big backs. And this forward pitch to Horde, he stumbles over Frimmel but holds his balance, and he's a load also, a very big back. Michigan has a couple of big backs in the backfield at this point.
This is Horde, outside right tackle, streaking to the 26. First down. Eiseman on the hit. Zach Dumas assisted Iseman, but the Wolverines are knocking on the door.
Well, Drake Iseman from his inside linebacking position plays off of one back, gets up into the hole to meet Horde, but he's got to be hampered a little bit, Jack. He was instrumental in that tackle, but he's got to be hampered by that broken thumb. Was not able to wrap around his arms around Horde and bring him down, but he's out there and giving it all he has for the Buckeyes today.
I think I said that forward pitch play by Michigan went for 7 or 8 yards. Actually, it went for 13. Taylor to the sideline, too high, out of bounds, intended for Callaway. Michigan electing to throw on first down. Looked like Taylor just pitched it out of bounds, Paul.
Had a tough throw going there. Ohio State had real good coverage with David Brown playing on the deep outside and the linebacker help underneath. It would have been a tough pass for Callaway to complete.
So now the Buckeyes prepare for 2nd and 10. There's Iseman's right hand, and it's wrapped up with a soft cast. He has mobility with those 4 fingers. His right thumb is very well protected. This is Taylor in the pocket looking for the screen left to Horde. Buckeyes trying to shut it down. Horde barrels to about the 16. Loose ball. It's Ohio State pigskin. Or is it blown dead? Let's see. One official has one call. The other says it's Ohio State possession. Scarlet and gray football at the 16, I believe. With 7:54 left, first quarter, no score. Mark Pelini on the jolt. Bo Schembechler dismayed over the Michigan fumble, which gives Ohio State possession at its 16. Big break, Paul.
Well, Michigan was moving the football awfully well, but Ohio State, playing alert and opportunistic football, made a key big play, and that's what the Buckeyes have to have today.
Ohio State entered the game -2 in the turnover takeaway department. The Wolverines a +8. Dante Lee trying to spring it to the outside. No way, says Michigan at the 16. Mike Teeter stands up Lee. Alex Marshall, who has 48 tackles on the year, assisted Teeter. And the Buckeyes, who ran the ball very well the first several times.
That's a look at the Michigan linebacking tandem right there. Alex Marshall, 59, as he plays off this block by Scotty Graham. Plays off of Graham's block and keeps Dante Lee from bouncing to the outside. Gets a little help from the inside from Chris Hutchinson. Michigan played that play extremely well.
Split back formation. This is Scotty Graham trying to pop it to the outside. Roll down at the 18. Bobby Abrams from his outside linebacking post twisted Graham to the turf, and the Buckeyes are confronted with 3rd down and about 13 yards to go.
Michigan defense starting to come alive now. Ohio State is going to have to start throwing the football a little bit earlier on first down. Michigan playing very tough run defenses against the run. Ohio State is going to have to start throwing the ball.
Abrams is out. Williams is in as part of the nickel coverage for Michigan. Buckeyes must get to the 26 for first down yardage. Fake draw. Fry dumps it behind Graham, incomplete. Some pressure applied, but Marshall might have gotten a piece of Fry as he released the football. Marshall is 59.
Well, as you can see, Jack, clearly this is a charged up Michigan defensive unit, and they're making big plays right now.
Michigan's got 10 men up on the line of scrimmage. Bowman takes the long snap inside his 5, gets it away without trouble. Welborn on the dead run, steps to the sideline in Ohio State territory at the 48. 6:17 to go, first quarter, no score. Ohio State, Michigan.
Well, Coach John Cooper now with his defensive unit right back on the field. A 3-and-out by the offense. That's not exactly the way this ball game is supposed to go. Ohio State not really picking up anything, and Michigan has the football in Ohio State territory at about the Buckeye 48-yard line. John Cooper simply has got to get more out of his offense, and I think the only way that he's going to do that is he's going to have to open it up and even have to throw the football sometimes on his side of the field where it may be at risk. But Michigan is going to play those strong defenses against the run and make it very difficult for him to run this football.
And the only throw so far by the Buckeyes, Paul, was a predictable third-down pass.
Well, that's just the kind of situation that Ohio State wants to stay out of during the course of this ball game. 3rd and 8, it gives Michigan a lot of opportunity to blitz and freelance on defense and do the things that they want to do, and they're playing in their own backyard, so they feel awfully comfortable.
Judah Herman shaking off a dinger, shaking up on that last defensive stand by the Buckeyes. He is on the sideline for this first play of this series, being replaced by Steve Tovar. The Wolverines have gained the field position advantage at the 48. Taylor on a rollout, has a lot of room to roam. He's got 15 yards. Michael Taylor scampering to the 31. Iseman in pursuit. 17-yard advance by Taylor.
Well, that's what makes Michael Taylor awfully difficult to defend. He is a fine quarterback with excellent running ability. John Cooper said the one thing that Ohio State may fear about Taylor more than anything else was his ability to run the option and roll out. But Taylor also is a very high percentage passer, throwing the ball at a 65% completion rate.
Coach Young on the Ohio State sideline. Late pitch to Horde, turning right end. Dumas and Spellman in pursuit, but Horde rambled for about 8 more. Had the Ohio State band not been there, Paul, Horde might still be running.
That's an awfully good point. Ohio State did a pretty good job of nullifying Michael Taylor's running the option up inside, but they didn't get the good outside support that time, and that's why Horde was able to turn the corner before the band stopped him.
Ohio State freshman linebacker Alonzo Spellman. He's had some outstanding games this year, needs a good one this afternoon. He must contain Taylor on the outside. 2nd and 2. Taylor throwing to the end zone. He's got Callaway. No good at the 1. David Brown on the coverage, as Taylor threw 3 running backs at the Buckeyes on that play and passed from that formation.
Well, Chris Callaway is running a corner pattern, goes inside and goes to the outside. He has David Brown beat at this point, but David Brown, to his credit, keeps hustling and gets back there. He's falling down, but Chris Callaway couldn't quite find the handle on that reception. Dropped the ball just before going out of bounds. Perhaps he was trying to concentrate and stay in bounds, but Michigan a little bit deceptive, showing a wishbone coming out of the huddle, making it look like a run formation.
Here it is again on 3rd and 2. This time they do run it. Horde springs it to the outside, inside the 15 to the 13. Mark Bellini came up to greet him, but it was too late. The play went for 10. Horde running like the Wolverines, won't miss bowls at all today, Paul.
Well, that's the frightening thing about Leroy Horde. He comes into this ball game as the number 2 tailback in this Michigan offense. Of course, the guy who's not here is Bowles, who was the top runner for Michigan and Horde, but we saw him last year. He has a combination of power and speed, and he's shown you several times that he can get outside.
Callaway in motion. This is Horde again, off guard, driving to about the 7, maybe the 6. Steve Tovar finally brought down Horde. Jefferson coming in from Bo Schembechler's sideline for this play. Alan Jefferson, the backup to Horde.
Well, Horde is showing you the real package, and Bo Schembechler has to like what he's seeing right now. Horde has the ability to get outside, and you saw him just cave in that line going to the inside. So Buckeyes have got to do a better job of controlling the line of scrimmage.
The wishbone attack is featured once more. Horde between right guard and tackle. Stacked up at about the 3.5. Very close to a first down. Under 5 minutes left in the first quarter. No score. Vincent Clark plugged up what hole there was. John Cooper awaiting this measurement. Boy, this Michigan offensive line is monstrous. We've spoken all year long about the Ohio State front wall. It is a first down. Michigan's just as big on that front line, Paul.
Just as big, Jack, and the frightening prospect of it all is that they're all underclassmen, too. So they'll all be back next year, but we won't worry about next year. We've got to worry about right now.
And they will all have gained about 10 more pounds by then, too. First and goal to go for the Wolverines from inside the 4. Wishbone attack again. This is Jefferson. He meets the challenge of the Buckeyes at the 3.5. Good surge provided by Tovar of Ohio State.
Steve Tovar stepping in the lineup today, a freshman player, and doing a fine job, and he's substituting for Judah Herman. Steve Tovar has made a lot of big plays for Ohio State this year, and that was a very big play right there.
With Herman out, it's Iseman and Tovar manning the middle at those two linebacking spots. The play gained a half a yard. Wishbone again. Second and goal. Bunch to about the 1.5. Pat Thomas submarine the play. Bo Schembechler sending in his third down play call with Allen Jefferson. Taylor ran the option very well in high school at Princeton, has run it quite a bit here at Michigan. Wolverines might elect to go wide to the...
Well, so far they've been going right at the heart of the Ohio State defensive unit. They just may decide to crack it in there again.
Ford turning right corner, touchdown. Leroy Horde, an authoritative runner today. Good blocking ahead of him by Allen Jefferson on that touchdown run of a little less than 2 yards. Now the try for the point after by Carlson. And he's got it. 3 minutes, 13 seconds left in the opening period. Michigan 7, Ohio State nothing. Leroy Horde has just romped in for the first touchdown of the day. He has been a man on a mission in this first quarter for the Wolverines, carrying the attack. And it was Michigan's defense which set the Wolverines offense up at midfield as the Buckeyes prepare to return this kickoff.
The Wolverines took advantage the second time they had the football after blowing the first time.
Dante Lee from the 6 looking for an avenue, runs into a wave of maize and blue at the 17. Ohio State starts 1st and 10. Ohio State offense, Paul, got off to a good start running the football, but then the Wolverines seemed to be clued in as to what was up Ohio State's sleeve and thwarted the running attack.
Michigan plays very standard traditional defenses, and after getting the first look in the first series at the Ohio State offense, they played the run very tough, and that is why Ohio State is going to have to start throwing a little bit more on first down now.
Buckeyes' average starting field position for this game has been inside the 20-yard line. Scotty Graham, outside left guard, churning. It took about 3 blue-shirted Wolverines to finally haul Graham down after he managed to carve out about 4 on the play. University of Michigan coaching staff. That's the defensive coordinator for the Wolverines looking on. Michigan been known for outstanding defenses. Of course, Gary Moeller, the one-time defensive coordinator. Now Bo Schembechler's offensive man. Fry, after a pump fake, rifles the Stabline at the 41. Play good for about 20. Trip Welburn on the tackle, so the Buckeyes go to the air and do it successfully.
A little bit of hesitation on the part of Greg Fry just before delivering that football, but Stabline was very wide open on the right sideline. Fry had enough time to set up and throw the ball, and he threw a fine pass into Stabline. Buckeyes are going to have to do more of this. They've got to start featuring that passing.
Michigan defensively ranked #1 in total defense in the Big Ten. Buckeyes to throw on first down. Fry got rid of it. It's ruled an incomplete forward pass. Of course, the Michigan Partisans wanted the sack. Michigan nearly got the tackle for a loss, but Fry alertly dished it away.
Greg Fry had a lot of pressure on him. Not very much protection after this play action phases. Teeter is the first one to come in, and Hutchinson also. Fry barely gets the ball off. Michigan fans, Jack, as you said, were roaring because they thought that Fry was sacked on the play for a big loss.
Buckeyes preserve the line of scrimmage at the 40. Have a 2nd and 10. Dante Lee sliding out to the 44. 3rd and 6 coming. J.J. Grant pushed Lee to the ground. 95 is Grant. Senior leader of this Michigan defensive corps.
Senior leader and a very fine football player, was hurt a little bit earlier in the year, but has bounced back from that injury to come back to lead Michigan down the stretch run of the season here.
Third and 6 as we approach the 1-minute mark late in the first quarter. Buckeyes must get to the 50 for a first down. Fry with time. Open receiver Palmer has a first down in Michigan territory at the 48. Play good for about 7 or 8 yards. 1st and 10 Buckeyes. Eric Anderson, 37 on the hit.
Excellent read by Greg Fry as he took a lot of time in the pocket. Michigan was playing zone defense throughout the wide third of the field, but Greg Fry found Palmer right in the middle of the field for his first down. Take what you get. That's good football. Ohio State is still maintaining possession.
Well, it took nearly a full quarter of play. Buckeyes finally in Michigan's end of the field. Graham busting loose for a big gain, driving to about the 36 of the Wolverines. Clock stopping at 38 seconds left first quarter as the chain is advanced ahead. Alex Marshall managed to knock down Scotty Graham. Untied Scotty Shue in the process.
Now, Jack, you see, as we're looking at Ohio State, the sideline, and coach offensive coordinator Coletto getting ready to send Buckeye into the ball game. But you see the effect of the passing game when mixed with the running game. It's now making Michigan respect Ohio State's full potential as an offensive team, and so they've got to at least play it a little bit more honestly.
Play clock down to 3 seconds. Dante Lee popping it to the outside, slashing inside the 25 to the 24. Another first down racked up by Ohio State. Veda Murray on the hit. Clock stops at 9 seconds. J.J. Grant assisted. So So the Buckeyes are making their first march into Michigan territory, an earnest drive.
Ohio State from the I formation. Buckeyes showing two wide receivers right here, either a run or pass situation, and that's Dante Lee just skirting to the outside off Scott Graham's great block and getting inside of the 15-yard line. Buckeyes now doing an excellent job running and throwing the football.
We've come to the end of the first quarter. Our score, Michigan 7, Ohio State nothing. We'll return with more Ohio State football in a moment. Second quarter of Ohio State football. This is Jack Kramer with Paul Warfield in Michigan Stadium on the campus of the University of Michigan, as offensive coordinator Jim Coletto talks with Greg Fry, who comes on with the first down play call from the Michigan 24. Buckeyes struggled early in the year at putting points on the scoreboard when they got inside the 25 or 30, but the last two-thirds of the season or so, Buckeyes have been quite successful at putting points on the board when they've gotten the ball down this far. Scotty Graham, good penetration by Michigan, impeding Graham's progress behind the line. Scotty did bounce it to the outside for a yard or two. Murray and Key slowed down the play.
Well, Jack, there's no question, but Michigan won that battle at the line of scrimmage. Scotty Graham started up inside, had to keep sliding and sliding and sliding until he was slid out of bounds. He absolutely had nowhere to run on that play.
Second down and 9 after Graham's 1-yard jaunt. Jeff Graham split far to Fry's left, out of your picture to the bottom of the screen. Dante Lee caught in the backfield, thrown down for a loss of 2. Mike Teeter snuffed out that play. Eric Anderson also got a piece of Dante Lee, and that forces Ohio State into a 3rd and 11. Statistically speaking, Paul, Buckeyes had the edge on the clock.
Yes, but Michigan has the edge in total yards, 109 total yards to 90 for Ohio State. Michigan has 1 turnover, but the Maize and Blue recovered from that. The very next possession, they took it in for the score.
Buckeyes must get to the 14 for a first down. Play clock winding down. 2-1. Fry's got the snap in time to Dante Lee in the flat, through his hands. Had the pass been completed, it would have been far short of a first down. So now the Buckeyes, with the wind at their back, have Patamoro in to try a field goal, which must travel at least 42 or 3 yards. 4th and 11. Field goal unit on. Fry to spot it at the 32. Patamoro, who is 5 of 11 on the year in the field goal department and has had 1 blocked, attempts to convert from 42 yards away. It's deflected, far short. Michigan got a piece of it. It's no good. .58 to go, second quarter. Michigan leads at 7-0.
Amaro making his approach now. He hits the ball, and it's deflected right at the center. Very hard to see which Michigan player deflected it. It may have been Veda Murray, and knocked some of the impetus off of that football, and it did not go all the way. Amaro's approach again, clean from the center. Veda Murray from back going high to get a piece of it. Veda Murray, safety for Michigan, stands at 6'3", has got a very good vertical jump, Jack.
The Michigan Wolverines take over the football at the line of scrimmage from which the field goal by Ohio State failed. Maize and Blue pigskin at the 25. That's Veda Murray, 27, the man who blocked the kick. And he did it, Paul, from a couple or 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
Well, we'd have to say the trajectory of that kick may have been a little bit low, giving Veda Murray credit for being 6'3" and having a good vertical jump, but he's not Wilt Chamberlain.
Well, perhaps the fact that O'Morrow is kicking off the surface without using the tee this year made a difference.
I think it was just a little bit low on the trajectory of the kick. That happens occasionally, and you have to give Murray a credit for making a big play.
1st and 10 for the Wolverines. This is Horde crawling out across the 30 to the 31. He is not to be denied today, at least so far anyway. Pelini and Spellman tripped him up.
Buckeyes are going to have to start doing a better job of meeting Horde on the other side of the line of scrimmage, because if he gets across the line of scrimmage, he is a load, and he is just making a lot of yardage right now.
He's got 59 yards so far in the afternoon. He gets the nod again. Eisenman got a piece of him. Tovar finished him off at the 29.
That's the kind of effort that we are talking about. You got to meet Horde on the other side of the line of scrimmage to stop his forward progress. And that time, Eisenman and Steve Tovar did an outstanding job.
Flying through the air, Derek Eisenman. So the Wolverines are now faced with a 3rd and close to 7, at least 6. Line of scrimmage short of the 30. Michigan must get across the 35 to near the 36. Play clock is down to 2 seconds, and the Wolverines need a timeout to avoid a 5-yard walk-off. 12:36 to go in the 2nd quarter. Michigan leads Ohio State 7-0. Meeting of the minds continues on the Michigan sideline. Bo Schembechler, Gary Moeller, the offensive coordinator, and Michael Taylor talking things over.
Michael Taylor wisely called that timeout. The clock was down to about 3 or 2 seconds. He did not want to take that 5-yard penalty, very aware that he had not gotten his offensive team up to the line of scrimmage in enough time. So he wisely took a timeout.
12 minutes and 36 seconds left in the 2nd quarter as the Michigan band toots a few horns and pounds the drum a little bit as well. Wolverines line up for 3rd down, close to 6, needed for a 1st down. Big play. Taylor, an out cut. It is caught at the 44-yard line. Fine throw and catch. McMurtry hauled it in. A flag is down. Buckeyes were coming strong. Perhaps an Ohio State player was held. Alonzo Spellman may have been coming too quickly, and he was. Offsides. Declined by the Wolverines. They'll take the 1st down. Just short of the 45.
Decline. 1st down.
Well, Alonzo Spellman got off the ball very well that time, but he was a little bit ahead of the snap count. It matters not, because Michigan completed that pass play from Michael Taylor to Greg McMurtry, a fine passing play on the sideline. Michigan continues to move the ball extremely well. When they have to throw, they can do it quite well.
1st and 10 for the Wolverines. Bunch and Horde staggered behind the quarterback. Contact made at the line of scrimmage. And for the 2nd straight play, the Buckeyes guilty of offsides. I'm sure the Wolverines will accept this one. Rich Frimmel may have been the guilty party.
Buckeye defense is going to have to settle down, show a little bit of composure right here.
Alonzo Spellman, a 6'6", 255-pound freshman, anchoring the outside linebacking spot on the left side. Bunch, the ball carrier. He rambles inside the 45 of Ohio State. 1st down yardage. Tom Lease from Kenton, Ohio, tackled Bunch. Jared Bunch from Ashtabula in the Buckeye State. Another first down registered by the Wolverines. Bo Schembechler talking about this young Ohio State defense. Fear that the Bucks could perhaps rise to the occasion, and this young group might play their best defensive game of the year today. Forward breaking tackles. Penalty goes down. Looked like a clip against Michigan. That or a face mask. Oh, it's against Ohio State again. Derek Eisenman went flying through the air. Got a piece of the ball carrier once more. Face mask call against Ohio State. It might have been Eisenman who latched on to Horde's face mask. Gary Moeller on the left, being screened now by Jefferson, the backup tailback of the Wolverines.
Again, Jack, the Buckeye defense is going to have to show some composure. Penalties hurting them right now as Michigan is continuing to move this football very, very effectively.
Ohio State head coach John Cooper on the sideline. The officials have straightened out the chain across the way, and the penalty marked off from the spot leaves Michigan needing just a yard. First down and less than one from inside the Ohio State 35. Taylor on the sprint out. He keeps it, angles inside the 30, drops it. Ohio State's got it at the 22, or do they? Buckeyes think they've got it. An unforced error. Taylor just let go of the pigskin. Ohio State football. The Buckeyes' second fumble recovery of the day. Michael Taylor was on the loose. David Brown, Johnny on the spot for the Bucks. Taylor shaking his head. How did I let go of the ball?
Michael Taylor running right here. The ball is stripped from him. It looks like Eisman got his head on the ball. David Brown wraps it up and makes the big recovery for Ohio State. The Buckeyes have gotten their second break of the ball game. They've got to start making something out of these breaks. They've got to move this football down to the other end of the field to reestablish field position, hopefully get points on the scoreboard.
Well, it was a hit that did cause the fumble. Eisenman with a big play for Ohio State. From the 22, first and 10 for the Buckeyes. Dante Lee's got a crack, and he squirts out to about the 28, gaining 6 on first down. 11:25 to go in the second quarter. 7-0 Michigan leads Ohio State. Trip Welburn made the tackle. TJ Osmond assisted for the Wolverines. Productive run on first down leaves the Buckeyes a little more than 4 needed on second down. Graham and Stabline are split. Graham to the right at the top of your picture. Play action. Fry has got an open receiver. Palmer makes a nice catch after the 45. Play good for 17. Buckeye fans whoop it up. Todd Plate upended Palmer.
Buckeyes running from the I formation. It's normally a run formation for them, but this time Greg Fry will elect to throw the pass on the play. Michigan will blitz their linebacker from the right side. Bobby Abrams, that is Trip Welburn, will blitz on the play, but he's picked up very nicely. And it's a nice pass going in from Fry to Jim Palmer and a big gainer.
Play action, Fry rolling. He's got Graham, but it's wide of the mark at the first down post. Todd Plate on the coverage. Fry a little upset with himself for missing Graham.
Michigan had pretty good coverage on that play. They had Plate, number 6, who was in the short area, and then Coleman, they had Welburn, I'm sorry, who was in the deeper area. Fry had to wait until the very last second to throw the football. And then late the receiver came open. Fry did not make a good throw, but he used good judgment on it. Perhaps in another situation he'll complete that pass.
Buckeyes send 2 receivers to the wide side. This is Dante Lee, and he is stopped just beyond the line of scrimmage. Mike Teeter twisted Lee to the ground. T.J. Osmond helped.
Eric Anderson right there, that linebacker from Michigan, making this play, warding off a block and getting right back in there. Anderson, the leading tackler for Michigan coming into the ball game, doing a fine job for the Maize and Blue.
And he, like many of the Wolverine defenders, will be back next year, just a sophomore. Buckeyes now confronted with 3rd and a little more than 8. Play clock is down to 3 seconds. Fry is dropped at the 37. Alex Marshall on the sack.
Well, Greg Fry took a little bit too long, but the reason why he took a little bit too long on that play was there was not very much open downfield for Ohio State. Protection finally broke down, and Marshall made a fine play.
Bowman to punt to Welburn. Just gets it away. A low kick. Welburn's got to let it hit. It takes an Ohio State hop back to the 10. Welburn is sandwiched at the 19. The official says no fumble. Ball dead at the 19-yard stripe. Buckeyes thought it popped loose. In fact, it may have after Welburn had hit the turf. 8:51 to go, second quarter. Michigan leads Ohio State 7-0.
Buckeye third down possession play just before kicking the football. Greg Beatty down in the lower part of your screen goes down. As you see down the rest of the field, there's absolutely no one open. Michigan defenders doing a good job, causing Greg Fry to have to take a long time to look, and finally he was stopped on that play and thrown for a loss and sacked by Alex Marshall of Michigan. So the Wolverine defense rising to the occasion and playing very, very well, stopped Ohio State's drive that time.
Bo Schembechler's Wolverines operating against the wind here in the second quarter. Bunch and Horde behind Taylor. This is Horde. He's got wide open spaces. Powers to the 35. Leroy Horde, like a runaway locomotive, explodes for 16. Vincent Clark managed to haul down Horde. First and 10 from the 35, down to 8.5 minutes left in the second quarter. This is Bunch on a sweep. Horde doing the blocking this time, and Bunch has got good yardage. He skirted left in for 8. David Brown managed to slow the play down, but not before Jared Bunch, the junior fullback, rambled for 8 big yards.
Well, Buckeyes support is falling down. That time they had to run closed off pretty good up on the inside, and Bunch is not a speedy running back, and so he has no business really getting to the outside and getting around the corner like that. So you have to question where the cornerback support was coming from that time. No support whatsoever, and Bunch turns the corner for 8 yards.
Leroy Horde on the last play did a good piece of blocking against Tom Lease to help spring Bunch. Second down. Turning up the middle for first down yardage was Bunch. So on 2 running plays, Bunch generates 12 or 13 yards. Derek Foster made the last tackle for Ohio State. And the Wolverines are in possession at the 47 of Michigan with a 1st and 10. Nearing the 8-minute mark, second period. 7-0. Michigan leads it. This is Bunch on the loose. Rich Frimmels underneath the pile. And now Jared Bunch takes up where Horde left off. Zach Dumas assisted. Buckeyes getting a dose of Jared Bunch now. The whole bunch of him.
Well, Bunch is a big back. He's 6'2", 240 pounds, and that's a load. And then you look on the other side with Leroy Horde. He's 5'10", 220 pounds, and so they're both big backs.
1st and 10, Michigan. Line of scrimmage, the Ohio State 42. This is Horde. Meets some resistance, but manages to slither ahead for about 5. Tovar and Pelini off the pile for Ohio State. 2nd down and a little more than 5. Nearly 6 needed for a 1st down. 7 minutes left in the second period.
Again, the Buckeyes find themselves in a position where they need to make something happen defensively, turnover, big play, or something or another.
I formation this time. This is Bunch picking his way, cutting it back, knifing to the 30, 1st down. Tovar finally nailed him, but not before Bunch garnered a 1st down. Jay Cook assisted. Wolverine forward wall just pushed the Buckeyes out of the way on that play, Paul. Bunch was several yards downfield before he met any resistance at all.
Well, good push by the forward front wall of Michigan, and also Bunch running to daylight, cutting back a little bit, and then using that power and strength that he possesses to forge out 2 or 3 more yards on his own.
We near the 6-minute mark, second quarter. This is Horde. Driving to the 20. Very close to yet another 1st down. Zach Dumas finally sat on Horde, who registers a 9-yard advance.
Well, this is just very tough, good, hard-nosed offensive running football. And that time Horde was up and through the hole and down the field about 5 yards before he was even met. And this Michigan offensive forward wall is really punishing the Buckeyes.
2nd and 1 for Michigan. This is Bunch. He is stood up right at the 20. He does not make the 1st down. Iseman, Dumas, Foster in the path of the ball carrier. As the Buckeyes were waiting on that rushing play and stymied it right at the line of scrimmage. 3rd and 1. Michigan must get to the 19.5. Wolverines have been quite successful on 3rd down, Paul.
Well, they're 3 out of 3 up to this point. They've been doing it mostly by moving the ball on the ground.
From the wishbone attack, Bunch went diving up over the top. Buckeyes caught Bunch in midair. He tried to hurdle the Bucks. Ohio State stopped it just beyond the line of scrimmage. Tovar and Thomas labeled the ball carrier at the 19.5. A measurement is required.
Taylor, straight handoff to Bunch. He goes up high, but he is met by the Ohio State linebackers. Tovar, who knocked him back, and it's going to be a very close measurement.
And it is a first down for the Wolverines inside the 20. 4 minutes and 40 seconds to go. John Cooper's Buckeyes have been pushed back on their heels on this offensive thrust by Michigan, which is eating up big yardage and a lot of clock. Wolverines come out of the wishbone this time. Flank two receivers to the right. Will run from the eye. Taylor now a draw. Frimmel, Foster on Taylor's back at the 16. Couldn't tell, Paul, if that was a design play or a broken one.
Well, the Buckeyes appeared to be a little bit confused themselves in their lineup as Michigan came out with two wide receivers to the far right side of the field, and no one absolutely covered Callaway on the inside. Michael Taylor spun around like he was going to run an option play, and it appeared to be a broken play, and just took it himself.
3:45 to go in the second quarter. Michigan leads Ohio State 7-0. Callaway split to the right along with McMurtry. This is Jefferson off left guard, surging to about the 12. He's 3 short of a first down. Pat Thomas latched onto him. Allen Jefferson, 206-pound junior, backup tailback. Ohio State fans waving to us. Very big play coming up, 3rd and 3, Paul. Spellman is out as the Buckeyes have reinforced their defensive front wall. Play clock is down to 4 seconds. Taylor, quarterback draw, inside the 5 to the 1. David Brown saved a touchdown.
Michael Taylor, a very valuable member of this Michigan offensive unit, goes back to pass as if to pass, and running the quarterback draw, gets a good block from Horde at that point, and then gets down to about the 1 yard line, 1 or 2 yard line. David Brown made the stop for Ohio State.
Michael Taylor played his high school ball at Cincinnati Princeton. His knee touchdown in the last play at the 2. So from the wishbone, the Wolverines will try to punch it in. 1st and goal. This is Jefferson outside left in. Hot foots it to the end zone. Touchdown. Schembechler's Wolverines have just engineered a long, time-consuming drive. Jefferson scampered in. Carlson to tackle the point. Right down the middle with it. 2:23 to go until halftime. 14-0 Michigan over Ohio State.
Michigan looked very impressive on that march, as you said, Jack, and finishing it off with a 2-yard run by Jefferson. And as Jefferson turned that corner, there was absolutely no one. So a great job done by the Michigan forward wall. That entire drive by the Maize and Blue was done on the ground. They came into this ball game averaging about 207 yards rushing, I believe, per game, but they really are dominating it really on the ground today.
And that drive came against the wind. That touchdown was scored by the Wolverines against a stiff breeze out of the south. They didn't have to put the football up. Now the Buckeyes will receive this kick. Dante Lee from the 11. Rips back out to the 32. So the Buckeyes will have 2 minutes, 18 seconds, and 3 timeouts remaining.
And Jack, on a kickoff, where the Buckeyes are right now at about the 32-yard line, is the best field position that they have received thus far from a kickoff. So with about 2 minutes and 18 seconds left, obviously Ohio State is going to have to put it up if they hope to move it downfield in this amount of time that's left on the clock.
Buckeyes have had the ball with the wind. Very little time in the second quarter. Fry for Graham. Fine catch. Rolled down at the 49. 19-yard strike. Fry to Graham. Looked like Graham had turned before the Michigan receivers had turned their heads back upfield. Graham caught him napping, it looked like, Paul.
Well, the first time that Greg Fry has gone to Jeff Graham today, and it's a fine catch. Buckeyes right at the 50-yard line, 49 rather, of Michigan.
Up the sideline, catch is made inside the 30 at the 26 Bastave line. Veda Murray on the hit, but the ball got there just in the nick of time.
Ball was almost a little late. That was a dangerous throw by Greg Fry from the I formation. Buckeyes lined up there, and Greg Fry will make a fine throw on the play to Stabline after faking the ball deep to Scott Graham. Greg Fry throws the corner pattern right in there to Stabline.
So 2 pass plays, good for 19 and 23 yards to Graham and Stabline. Buckeyes outside the 25. Scotty Graham shooting inside the 10, down to the 5. Scotty Graham from the tailback position, barreled for a big yardage. And the Buckeyes have gone from their 32 to the 5 in 3 plays.
All right, from the I formation, Scotty Graham ran a lot of tailback last week. He's got a little bit more power, and he can bolt right up through there. He's got the quickness and the speed to go all the way, but he brings a little bit more power to that tailback position, and that may be the reason why Coach John Cooper has placed him right back in the tailback position. Ohio State down knocking on the door.
Bobby Olive is split wide to the left. Play clock winding down. Ohio State elects to take a timeout. No, it's an official time as Fry sought help from the referee. Very smart play by Fry.
Extremely noisy with well over 100,000 people in the stands today. Greg Fry did the right thing in making sure that his team is able to hear his signals.
And the play clock was also winding down to 3 or 2 seconds, so it was a doubly wise move by Craig Fry.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he played the chess game beautifully. Wolverines home crowd a little quieter at the moment. Harrison and Graham are behind Fry. John Nealon stepping in. Bo Schembechler urging the Wolverine partisans to cooperate. First and goal. Scotty Graham hops to about the 3. That's it. Mike Teeter put his helmet on Graham, as did Osman. From just inside the 4, second down. Boy, Graham didn't make much yardage at all. I thought he got a half a yard, maybe closer to 1 full yard. Graham is split wide to Fry's left. This is Scotty Graham. No room. And the Buckeyes have chosen to take a timeout with 32 seconds to go in the first half. Michigan leads it 14-0.
Well, Jack, Michigan has played that run very tough up inside. I've noticed on the last play that Jeff Graham was one-on-one on the outside. Nobody but the world out there with him, and I'd take Jeff Graham in that situation.
That was one of those plays where if Greg Fry had to do it over again, he would have checked off perhaps at the line of scrimmage.
It would have been wise to look out there with Jeff Graham with just that one lone Michigan defender out there. And as I said, Jeff Graham has certainly proven himself time and time again over this season as one of the better pass receivers in all of Big Ten Conference. I certainly would try to get him the football out there.
The Wolverines have done very well on third down in this game. By contrast, the Buckeyes have not performed very well at all.
Well, the Wolverines are absolutely perfect, but Ohio State is just 1 out of 5 in third down situations. And so the Buckeyes really need a play here. I mean, it's likely that they could come out of here with the field goal or the three-pointer, but 7 points would really look good, and I think it would help their morale and build their confidence.
This reminds me of a situation early in the fourth quarter of the game last year between Ohio State and Michigan when the Buckeyes had a 1st and goal inside the 5, had to settle for a field goal. They didn't get the 7. That 4 points turned out to be the difference in the ball game.
It sure did.
This is a supreme test for the Ohio State offensive line. And you've got to believe the Michigan defense, which was banking on a run on the previous play, might suspect pass here. 2 tight ends. Graham split to the boundary side. It's a fade pattern for Graham. He can't get it. Plate number 6. Outstanding coverage on Graham.
Well, the Buckeyes electing to go with the pass, the fade pass to Jeff Graham. He goes up high for the pass, a little bit underthrown. Graham goes up high. Plate is beaten at that point, but Graham just cannot find the handle. Plate hits his arms on the play. Incompleted pass. Ohio State will have to try for the field goal.
A 20-yard field goal to try, apparently coming by O'Moro. Slight angle right to left. O'Moro buries this one. And with 25 seconds left in the second period, the Buckeyes are on the scoreboard, trailing Michigan 14-3.
Again, the rush from the back. Veda Murray, number 27, going up very high again. He got one earlier, field goal attempt, and looked like he was kind of close on that one, too.
Too close for comfort. You're right, Paul. But John Cooper's Buckeyes get 3 out of it. It was a superb offensive thrust by the Buckeyes right down the field.
Well, they got down the field very quickly, and they've started to open it up, throwing the football, and they've simply got to do more than that. Although they have an outstanding offensive line that can push people around, Michigan is set to stop the run today, and so Ohio State is going to have to mix it up.
Greg Fry perhaps saying to himself, boy, I'd like to have that pass back again.
They still up there?
Well, I think he threw a pretty good pass, Jack. It was a little bit underthrown, but Jeff Graham was able to get his hands on it. I thought he got his hands on it clean. He just was not able to pull it in and get it away from Plate, the defender on the play.
O'Moro to kick off with the wind. And he hit a dribbler down inside the 25. Return to the 34. Tovar on the tackle of McGee. Well, I thought it was McGee, but it was not the backup tight end for the Wolverines. Instead, it was Bernie Leggett, who's the backup fullback to Bunch, who's in on special teams. Ticks on the clock late in the second quarter. I would not put it past the Wolverines to send up a long Hail Mary bomb downfield. In fact, Michigan has called a timeout. Timeout, Michigan. Wolverines have one remaining.
Well, knowing Bo Schembechler the way that I know him, I would be kind of surprised if he did something like that in this situation. He's a traditionalist as a football coach, Jack, and he really believes that you do things the right way by staying on the ground and doing it. And so trickery is not a part of his philosophy. So I'd be surprised if he did that. I think that, Bo's happy with the situation as it is right now. He's 14-3. It's not saying that he wouldn't want any more scores before halftime, but I just don't think he'd want to risk having something happen on this side of the field.
Of course, the other thing to consider, too, is that Michigan will get the football, no doubt, to start the third quarter. They'll have the choice.
That's right. And they've proven that whether they're going into the win or with the win up to this point, they certainly have the capability of moving the football.
Callaway and McMurtry have come out to the right. Taylor in the pocket, right down the middle to his tight end at the 42. Clock is stopped at 14 as the first down chain is advanced forward.
So it only proves, Jack, that I don't know anything about football and you know a lot more, because Bo does want more.
But you're the one who wore the 42. I didn't.
Well, there he is. Yeah, he wants more. He's pretty eager right there on the sidelines.
And Ohio State has elected to call a timeout. The Wolverines were quickly up to the line of scrimmage, set to go with another play.
Well, they're utilizing an I formation here, and they send Callaway in motion from out of the slot across, and Taylor will go back in the pocket to tight end Derek Walker, releases straight downfield in the middle of the zone, and Michael Taylor, a 65% passer, completion rate, fires the ball into Walker. Walker, the big tight end, who is coming to this ball game with 11 receptions on the year. They don't throw to him a whole lot, but when they do throw to him, they try to make it meaningful, such as in that situation right there.
The initial signal indicated that it was an Ohio State timeout, when in fact it was changed, and it was Michigan which used its last timeout. 14 seconds to go. And with the height of someone like a McMurtry, who's 6'3", 6'4", you'd think the Wolverines might try to utilize him. But of course, they've got to get the clock stopped long enough to get the field goal team on. They're out of timeouts.
Well, they have Carlson, who is also their very fine field goal kicker, who's 12 out of 13 this year, which is an outstanding mark in terms of field goal percentage. And at this point, I would think that Bo would like to get it close enough to give him a shot at it. But of course, he's kicking into a win, so they're going to have to get it inside of the 30-yard line, closer to about the 20, 25-yard line.
This time, Callaway and McMurtry are split to the opposite sides of the field. Taylor throws an out pattern wide of Walker at the 36. Zach Dumas on the coverage. The plan there was for Taylor to get the ball to the sideline, get the clock stopped. Pass was not complete, but the clock is halted at 10 seconds.
Well, it was a crossing pattern with the tight end Derek Walker being the primary receiver on that play, and Michael Taylor was going to hit him going from right to left over to the left sideline and hopefully try to get him out of bounds to stop the clock.
Buckeyes have 5 defensive backs in. Horde was lined up in the slot. Taylor to the sideline, out of bounds with 3 seconds to go. Pretty good coverage applied by the Ohio State nickel secondary on that play.
Very good coverage by the Ohio State secondary. Now they'll have to play for the Hail Mary because, of course, that is Michigan's only shot at this point for the score.
What'd you say, Hail Mary or Hail McMurtry?
He's the guy that they'll probably be going to. He's 6'3" tall.
Taylor, deep drop. He's going to scamper ahead with it. Out of bounds at the 28 as time expires here in the first half at Michigan Stadium. Our score after 2 quarters, the Wolverines 14, Buckeyes 3. We'll return with more Ohio State football in a moment. Ohio State football. This is Jack Kramer with Paul Warfield from Michigan Stadium in Ann Arbor, where the Wolverines of Michigan lead the Ohio State Buckeyes 14-3. We're seconds away from the beginning of the third stanza of this game. It's been all Michigan so far. A ferocious ground assault by the Wolverines, led by Leroy Horde, and that superb front offensive wall of the Wolverines.
Well, Leroy Horde is unfortunately no stranger to Ohio Staters because of last year's performance in the Michigan-Ohio State game. And today he's substituting for Tony Bowles, who is out with a knee injury. Bowles came into this game as the leading rusher for Michigan and a big play man, but Horde certainly has stepped in and kept pace. He's making all the key runs, whether he's going outside or running up the middle. And as you said, Jack, that Michigan offensive forward wall has been unbelievable in moving Buckeye defenders off the ball.
Michigan came into the game averaging nearly 5 yards per rush, and so far today the Wolverines per play are averaging 7 yards on the ground. They're averaging 6.5 per carry. Howard and Jefferson back inside the 5 to receive the second half kickoff. Buckeyes will have the wind at their backs in the third quarter. The kick is driven on a bounce to Howard, a yard deep. Here he comes. Exploding out across the 30 to the 35. Steve Tovar once again in there on the tackle for Ohio State. He's had a great first half of this game. The quarterback, Taylor, he rushed for 57 yards in the first half. This is Leroy Horde carving out about 4. Buckeyes looked a little more aggressive defensively against the rush on that play, as Frimmel and Tovar sandwiched Horde. And twice already in this half, Paul, we've mentioned the name Tovar.
Well, he's a good-looking young player, and as we said before, has made a lot of key big plays for Ohio State throughout the year, and he's playing an impressive ball game here today against Michigan.
2nd and 6. Taylor after the fake to bunch. It is intercepted by Vincent Clark. A superb pickoff by Clark as he lunged in front of McMurtry and intercepted Taylor. Only the 3rd time this year Taylor's been picked off.
Well, Vince Clark at the bottom of your screen, you don't see him. McMurtry running the pattern on Clark. Now you see Clark. Clark sees this pattern all the way, sees the ball, breaks on the ball in front of McMurtry. In great shape. Ideal play for the cornerback. Fine reception. Big play for Ohio State. Vince Clark turning things around for the Buckeyes. Now this offensive unit has got to move this football.
Ohio State possession at the 45. Just 50 seconds into the third quarter. Fry to go up top. to bounds of state football. This is Jack Kramer with Paul Warfield from Michigan Stadium in Ann Arbor, where the Wolverines of Michigan lead the Ohio State Buckeyes 14-3. We're seconds away from the beginning of the third stanza of this game. It's been all Michigan so far. A ferocious ground assault by the Wolverines, led by Leroy Horde, and that superb front offensive wall of the Wolverines.
Well, Leroy Horde is unfortunately no stranger to Ohio Staters because of last year's performance in the Michigan-Ohio State game, and today he's substituting for Tony Bowles, who is out with a knee injury. Bowles came into this game as the leading rusher for Michigan and a big play man, but Horde certainly has stepped in and kept pace. He's making all the key runs, whether he's going outside or running up the middle. And as you said, Jack, that Michigan offensive forward wall has been unbelievable in moving Buckeye defenders off the ball.
Michigan came into the game averaging nearly 5 yards per rush. And so far today, the Wolverines per play are averaging 7 yards on the ground. They're averaging 6.5 per carry. Howard and Jefferson back inside the 5 to receive the second half kickoff. Buckeyes will have the wind at their backs in the third quarter. The kick is driven on a bounce to Howard, a yard deep. Here it comes. Exploding out across the 30 to the 35. Steve Tovar once again in there on the tackle for Ohio State. He's had a great first half of this game. The quarterback, Taylor, he rushed for 57 yards in the first half. This is Leroy Horde carving out about 4. Buckeyes looked a little more aggressive defensively against the rush on that play, as Frimmel and Tovar sandwiched Horde. And twice already in this half, Paul, we've mentioned the name Tovar.
Well, he's a good-looking young player, and as we said before, has made a lot of key big plays for Ohio State throughout the year, and he's playing an impressive ball game here today against Michigan.
2nd and 6. Taylor after the fake to bunch. It is intercepted by Vincent Clark. A superb pickoff by Clark as he lunged in front of McMurtry and intercepted Taylor. Only the 3rd time this year Taylor's been picked off.
Well, Vince Clark at the bottom of your screen, you don't see him. McMurtry running the pattern on Clark. Now you see Clark. Clark sees this pattern all the way, sees the ball, breaks on the ball in front of McMurtry. In great shape. Ideal play for the cornerback. Fine reception. Big play for Ohio State. Vince Clark turning things around for the Buckeyes. Now this offensive unit has got to move this football.
Ohio State possession at the 45. Just 50 seconds into the third quarter. Fry to go up top to Beatty. Inside the 35, out of bounds at the 32 of Michigan. 23-yard play. Fry to Beatty. Plate bumped him to the boundary.
Well, we said one way that Ohio State is going to have to virtually get back in the ball game or change things around is through the pass. Coach John Cooper walking down the sidelines right now. That has to be a pleasing prospect. Ohio State getting a key turnover and making a big first down.
Tyrone Harrison and Scotty Graham are in the backfield for the Buckeyes. 1st and 10. This is Scotty Graham, a big chunk of yardage. Driving inside the 25 to the 23. He's got 9. Scotty Graham at 56 yards in the first half. Veda Murray finally managed to yank Graham to the turf. Dante Lee has re-entered for the Buckeyes. That experienced offensive front wall for Ohio State. Tim Moxley, one of several graduating seniors on that front line. Moxley, number 74. Second and just a couple feet. Buckeyes came very close to getting it. Scotty Graham just needed 2 feet. Evans and Anderson pinched Graham right at the first down post. A measurement is needed. And it is a first down for Ohio State. Very quickly, John Cooper's Ohio State Buckeyes have jumped back into this game, forcing a turnover early. And the offense has pinned Michigan's defense against the wall. Buckeyes at the 21, 1st and 10. Graham and Harrison behind Fry in the I formation. Stabline and Jeff Graham are flanked. Scotty Graham springs it to the outside. A lot of running room. David Key knocked Graham down at the 10. Buckeyes, it looks like, could get a first down inside the 1.
Inside linebacker Anderson getting caught up in here, knocked down by Jeff Davidson with a fine block pushing him off. Great block by Jeff Davidson knocking him off the ball. But also you got to give a lot of credit to Scotty Graham, because Scotty Graham made an outstanding cut on the play to get outside.
It is nearly a goal-to-go situation. The nose of the ball just outside the 10. First down, Ohio State. Buckeyes must go 10 yards. This is a crucial series. This is Harrison. No, I should say Graham. He does forge ahead for 3. 2nd and 7. Marshall and Anderson managed to collar Scotty Graham, who gained only 2.5.
Now, Jack, in the second quarter in this situation, 2nd down, Ohio State was down close to the Michigan goal line. Michigan came with a blitzing maneuver to stop a draw play. Let's see what the Maize and Blue try this time.
Fry has flanked Beatty and Jeff Graham to the left at the bottom of your picture. 2nd and goal. Scotty Graham got very little yardage. He only managed 2 to about the 5.5. Marshall in there on the tackle for Michigan. John Cooper has sent in his 3rd down play, and it's a mighty big call here, Paul.
Well, Michigan did not come with the blitz on 2nd down, but they sure came with a strong defensive plan on that down. They stopped Ohio State for short yardage.
Buckeyes feature a passing formation. Graham and Lee are split behind Fry, who's in the pocket. Batted down. Mike Teeter, number 91. He swatted the football to the turf. And Patamoro in the field goal unit is on. This 3-pointer would cut the Michigan lead to 14-6. Amoro bangs it home. There is a flag down. There is a penalty marker on the turf. Let's see what it's all about. Now keep in mind the line of scrimmage was near the 5. It's offside Michigan. A 5-yard walk-off would take the football down inside the 1. The Buckeyes could get a first down at about the 1-foot line.
Offside on a scoring play. The foul will be administered on the ensuing kickoff.
And with 10:46 left in the third quarter, Michigan's lead has been shaved to 14-6, which gives us a moment to look back at the first 100 years of Ohio State football, and we'd like for you to consider how many national championship teams did Woody Hayes produce? And you can choose from three choices: A, 3 national titles, B, 4, C, 6. National championships generated by Woody Hayes. Three, 4, or 6, A, B, or C?
Well, I think that I would pick. Well, we'll let the audience pick their number. Without my help. After all, I was the guy who predicted that Michigan wouldn't throw towards the end of the second quarter. I mean, I want my answer on this one.
Well, I tell you, I'm out to lunch because I had the answer in my head. There's Alonzo, one of Ohio State's 2 outside linebackers. Tom Lease on the other side. This is Horde. Tovar hit him. Lease piles on his back. And the Buckeyes restrict the game to about 6. Spellman finished off the ball carrier, sets up a 3rd and 5. And the Buckeyes send in some fresh troops, including the nickelback Darrell Lewis, on 3rd down.
Well, the Buckeyes didn't play that last play quite as well, and looks like Horde, I believe it is, may be shaken up on the play. He was slightly injured last week in Michigan's ball game, in the area of the ribs or the chest, I believe, and so he's down on the field right now. He's been a nemesis in running that football.
That last run by Leroy Horde, Paul, sent him over the century mark.
Well, he's 102 yards rushing right now on the day, down and being attended to on the field of play. But we've seen him the last couple of years and know what kind of ability he has.
Horde is being helped off to the Michigan sideline. Well, he has clearly been the workhorse of this Wolverine attack. And I just think he received a dinger on the noggin. A little dazed, it appears, Paul.
Well, he's being assisted from the field and walking pretty slowly towards the sidelines, and he's a pretty tough running back. I've got a feeling we're going to see him back before the day is out.
Leroy Horde, 5'10", 220-pound junior. And he gets labeled after a 6-yard gain on that previous play, as Ohio State put a tag right on his hat.
Well, the Buckeye defense has picked up the tempo certainly in this second half and playing pretty well right now.
Jefferson is in at tailback. Taylor to pass on 3rd and a long 4 at the 44-yard line. It's ruled trapped, incomplete. McMurtry went sliding to the turf in an effort to catch the ball from Taylor. It's ruled no good.
Well, Greg McMurtry, who's a fine baseball player and outfielder for the University of Michigan baseball team, went down like a baseball player, scooping it up, but the officials ruled that it touched the surface. And so the ball for the Wolverines will have to be punted out of here in this situation. This is Michigan's first punt of the ball game, Jack.
You're right. Stapleton back inside his 15, gets it away. It's a very short kick off the side of his foot. It'll be Ohio State ball around the 40 of Michigan. Pretty good rush on Stapleton, who shanked it. 9:14 to go, third quarter. Michigan leads Ohio State 14-6.
Another great opportunity for this Ohio State football team, getting better field position here in the second half to start their offensive thrust. So they've got to have the ability to take advantage of every offensive opportunity they get. Brutus trying to urge the Buckeyes on.
This half beginning very much unlike the start of the game, Paul, when the Buckeyes had miserable field position the first two quarters. From the 40, 1st and 10, split backs. Michigan showing blitz. They backed off at the last moment. Palmer open in the middle. He's got about 9 to the 31. There's Leroy Horde getting a breath of fresh air on the Michigan sideline. Grant and Hutchinson made the last tackle for the Wolverines.
The Buckeyes going back to the first down pass and picking up 9 yards on the play and leaving them in a nice 2nd and 1 position.
Harrison and Graham are in the backfield behind Fry. This is Scotty Graham looking for a crease. He got maybe 2. Forward progress stopped at the 28. Enough for a first down. Teeter and Anderson on the tackle of Scotty Graham.
Although the Buckeyes are down close and inside of Michigan's territory about the 28-yard line, I'd like to see them come right back with a short pass to come back 2nd and 5 or 4 again.
The forward pass since about the 2nd or 3rd series of the game has clearly been Ohio State's most productive play on first down. This is Scotty Graham with a pitch sweep. He has a little running room, driving to about the 24.5. He gained a little over 3. J.J. Grant upset Graham. Mike Teeter assisted. 2nd down, a little less than 7 coming for the Buckeyes. 7 minutes, 45 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter. Buckeyes must get to the 18 for a first down. Scotty Graham again breaks a tackle, slips away from another. An authoritative effort by Graham. He's got a first down outside the 15.
Well, Jack, that was a very determined run by Scotty Graham. There wasn't very much up inside there, but he broke a couple of tackles, slid to the outside, and made something out of nothing and got a first down for Ohio State.
Mike Teeter, number 91, has come off for Michigan, the big senior middle guard. And on the other side of the field, an Ohio State player appears to be shaken up a little bit. Seven minutes left, 3rd quarter. Play clock is at 10. 1st and 10 for Ohio State. Scotty Graham, a quick hitter to about the 9. Graham got 50% of the first down yardage as he chewed up 5 yards of the 10. J.J. Grant sat on him. And Scotty Graham has now gone over the 100-yard mark on the day. Jim Palmer, by the way, the Ohio State player shaken up a couple plays ago. He's on the bench. 2nd and 5 for Ohio State. Huffman in at tight end now. Buckeyes have 2 people split to the boundary side. Buckeye players having difficulty hearing the cadence. Scotty Graham powers to the 6. Buckeyes just got the snap away. Seconds were ticking down to under 5 on the play clock.
formation. There are two wide receivers to the left of center from the I formation on that play. So we see the lineup of the Ohio State, and then Greg Fry handing the ball off to Scott Graham and picking a spot, finding through the left side of the line and getting very close to the first down marker.
For the third time now, the Buckeyes are inside the 10-yard line. 3rd and 1 from the 6. Two tight ends. Jeff Graham in motion. This is Scotty Graham. He struggles to the 5. I believe he's got the first down. Eric Anderson on the hit. Scotty Graham, Paul, made the most of a poor situation. Looked like he was going to be throttled at the 6. And a Michigan player goes down. Abrams is up, number 24. Meanwhile, Anderson was helped off to the near side. They're starting to drop like flies.
A lot of hard hitting down on the football field and hard running by Scott Graham. As you said, that's Anderson over on the bench on the Michigan side of the field.
Scotty Graham has gotten the call on 6 consecutive plays. 1st and goal from the 5. This is Harrison, piled up at the 3.5. Tyrone Harrison, 234-pound junior fullback, got the nod, lost his shoe on the play as Hutchinson and Grant submarine the play at the 3.5. Anderson is checked back in for Bo Schembechler's Wolverines. 2nd and goal. Dante Lee is also in. Jeff Graham is flanked far to the right. This is Scotty Graham. He is down to the goal line. He's in. Touchdown. Buckeyes have cut the lead to 2, 14-12. Dante Lee is on. Buckeyes appear to be lined up for the 2-point conversion here. Greg Fry has instructed the referee, John Nealon, to move the football left of center, just outside the left hash. Against Minnesota, Paul, when the Buckeyes strung 3 2-point conversions in a row against Minnesota, it was the Fry-Jeff Graham combination that did the trick. Loose football, Michigan's got it. The 2 points go for naught. Four minutes, 3 seconds to go, 3rd quarter. Michigan leads Ohio State 14-12.
Well, apparently it looked like a bad exchange from quarterback, from center to quarterback. Greg Fry did not have the football. Now he cannot get to it. A Michigan defender recovers that football, but Ohio State loses its chance as David Key of Michigan recovers the football for the 2-pointer.
Well, as we look back at 100 years of Ohio State football, we shared with you a few moments ago a question for you to ponder. And it was, how many national championships did Woody Hayes produce at Ohio State? And we gave you 3 choices, A3, B4, C6. And the answer is A3. 54, 57, and 1968.
All great teams for Ohio State and great championship clubs. All right, another look at that last play. Ohio State going for the 2-point conversion. A bad exchange occurs between center Dan Beatty and quarterback Greg Fry. And Ohio State loses an opportunity to tie this ball game, but the Buckeyes are definitely back in it, and back in it because Greg Fry has played a very important role in throwing the football and moving this team downfield.
Jefferson and Howard are back at the goal line to receive the kickoff for Michigan, as the Buckeyes must tee it up once again. The wind blew the pigskin off the tee. Morrow preparing to boot. We noticed that Leroy Horde is on the field for the Wolverines. He is down at the 20-yard line. So Horde is back in action. The kick sails to the 11, and it bounds out of bounds. Jefferson went over to cover it, let it hit, and it skipped to the boundary, and the Buckeyes will have to kick it again.
Well, the Buckeyes electing to use that high wedge shot kick, allowing the coverage to get up under it. That time, Pat O'Morrow could not keep it in bounds. I would suspect with the wind to his back, Jack, that he'll go for a deeper kick this time.
Well, with the Buckeyes booting from 5 yards further downfield, you want to get as much leg as possible now, or you take a chance on giving up valuable field position to Michigan.
You certainly don't want to give up real estate to this Michigan offensive team. Ohio State has had them pinned down in their own territory, and as a result have played very well against them here in the third quarter. So I would suspect that Ohio State will go for the deeper kick this time, hoping to get Michigan inside or right about the 20-yard line.
4 minutes, 3 seconds to go, third period. Wolverines lead the Buckeyes 14-12. Now the ball is on this hash. O'Morrow pulls it off again. It's returned from the 25 to the 35, and the Buckeyes stack it up at that point. Returned by Bernie Leggett, tackle by Zach Dumas. And the Wolverines start from their 36, 1st and 10, following the O'Morrow kickoff.
That's plenty of room for them to maneuver. I don't think you like to have them start that far out on the football field.
Michigan's offense has been held in check in the third period. One interception thrown by Taylor. Michigan had to punt the football the other time. Bunch and Jefferson in the backfield. This is Jefferson, gaping hole, blasting to the 50. Zach Dumas on the tackle. A 14-yard bolt by Jefferson. And in one play, Michigan's at the midfield stripe.
One play and at the midfield stripe, and just about to go into Ohio State territory. And so you have to question that short kick strategy.
Horde has re-entered. He dots the I. Foster Polk is in for Ohio State in the secondary. Horde meets resistance at the 49. Frimmel and Thomas put a charge into Leroy Horde and sent him to his back.
Well, that's the best way to stop Leroy Horde. Do not allow him to get across that line of scrimmage with a full head of steam, and he was met by several Buckeye tacklers and hit real good.
2nd and 9. We're down to 3:05 to go in the third quarter. Michigan leads Ohio State 14-12. Split backs this time. Horde and Bunch. Receivers left and right. This is Bunch trying to turn the corner. No way. Buckeyes shut it down. Tovar led the wave of white-shirted Buckeyes, and he pinned the ball carrier to the turf.
Steve Tovar came from a long way from the middle linebacking position, but he got up there, filled that gap, and would not allow the ball carrier, Bunch, to get across the line of scrimmage.
Ohio State defensively employs the nickel coverage now. 3rd down and 8. Flank far to the left. At the top of your picture is Callaway. McMurtry on the right. Jefferson in motion. Michigan needs 8 yards. Oh, it's a quarterback draw. Taylor stymied. The Buckeyes corral him. A 1-yard gain. That's it. Spellman put the collar on the quarterback of Michigan. Taylor subdued after a 1-yard advance. Michigan must kick it.
Outstanding play by Alonzo Spellman. Ohio State playing very tenaciously on defense now. Got some help from Rich Fremmel. Wolverines forced to punt the football again. Ohio State is playing inspired defensive football.
Stapleton's last kick was a very poor one. It traveled just 14 yards. Buckeyes have 10 men bunched up on the line of scrimmage. They're coming. End over end kick. Olive at the 16. Does well to get to the 25, and the Buckeyes start from that point with 1:14 to go in the third quarter. Michigan 14, Ohio State 12. Well, let's take a look back at 100 years of Ohio State football and get a glimpse of that 1984 Ohio State-Illinois clash when Keith Byers excelled. He went over 60 yards in that game against Illinois in the third quarter. Buckeyes once trailed 24-0. And that long run by Byers, Paul, in which he lost his shoe, helped fuel a tremendous Ohio State comeback.
Can picture it now, can't you?
Oh, what a run by Byers. A dazzling effort. He would have gone the distance with both shoes off, both socks gone.
With the tape off his ankles also.
Buckeyes went on to win that game 45-38. Byers rushed for over 270 yards. Had a tremendous day.
He certainly fueled a great comeback and was a spectacular one-man show that afternoon.
And that was one of 5 touchdowns for Byers against Illinois that day in Ohio Stadium.
Yep.
Oh, a great Ohio State flashback we'll be talking about for years to come, I'm sure. Just 1:14 left in the third quarter. And a real war is going on now between the Ohio State fans and the Michigan fans. The sound meter is registering about 10.
Well, the Buckeyes certainly is a war going down on the field, and Ohio State has got to take advantage of this 1:14 of the win. They've got to move the ball more.
Graham in motion. Fry wants to throw. Scrambling. He's got some running room. He's got 5 yards. He gets about 9. Jeff Graham provided some interference for Greg Fry. J.J. Grant was the man that Graham leveled.
Got a good block from Jeff Graham and kept his poise, feinted throwing a pass downfield to freeze one Michigan defender, and Greg Fry, not the most artful runner, as you see right there. It's a great block by Jeff Graham on J.J. Grant. Jeff Fry gets a 9-yard gain on the play.
Buckeyes need just a foot on second down. Scotty Graham picks his way for about 3 to the 38. We're down to 16 seconds late in the third quarter. It's a 1st and 10 for the Buckeyes. Last tackle made by Osmond of Michigan. And when the ball is spotted for play, the clock will start to move again, as it does. And that could very well be the last play of this third quarter. It's under 10 now, winding down. Third quarter was all Ohio State. That is it. The third quarter has expired at Michigan Stadium. The Wolverines lead the Buckeyes 14-12. We'll return with more Ohio State football in a moment. We're set to open the fourth period. Buckeyes trail the Wolverines 14-12. Ohio State possession, 1st and 10, short of the 38. Fry to throw. Arches it, intercepted at the 47.
position in the pocket. He's going to feel some pressure. Michigan defenders all in his face. He's throwing a long sideline into coverage this time. Plate goes very high and makes the interception for the Wolverines. And the Wolverines have their first big break of the ball game, and in the second half and the start of the fourth quarter.
Todd Plate on the interception. J.J. Grant applied the pressure on Fry to help force the errant throw. This is Horde to the outside, down at the 49. Horde gained about 3.5. Second and a little less than 7 coming. Foster Polk came up to slide Horde to the turf. That third quarter, Paul, was dominated by the Buckeyes. Michigan ran off just 9 plays.
Buckeyes ran off 19 plays as opposed to Michigan's 9 plays.
And the Buckeyes had a big edge in total yardage. This is Bunch squirming to about the 43, very close to a first down. Zizakovic on the hit. I said Bunch, it was Horde who carried it. A yard shy of a first down. Buckeyes had nearly 100 yards in that third stanza.
Well, they had 97 yards. Of course, Michigan only came back with 27.
Third down and 1. The Wolverines feature the wishbone. This is Horde racing into the secondary. He could go. Vincent Clark with a touchdown saving tackle at the 4.
From that wishbone attack, that's what you see is the setup, the wishbone with the 3 backs in the backfield. It's been a very successful formation. Good blocking by Skrepnik, number 75, opening up a big hole. Jefferson gets a big block downfield, and Horde is off and away. And a touchdown saving tackle by Vinnie Clark on the play.
And Leroy Horde is shaken up for the second time in this game. That bolt by Horde down to the 4 now gives him a grand total of 152 yards on the day.
See 75 Skrepnik getting a great block, and also Derek Walker, the tight end, 89, pushing Lease out of the play, creating a big cavity for Horde to run through.
Michael Taylor receiving instructions from Michigan head coach Bo Schembechler. Meanwhile, Leroy Horde is coming off to the Michigan sideline, and he is very gimpy. Vincent Clark caught him from behind, and Horde bounced off the turf pretty hard.
Well, as we said, Jack, he came into the ball game with slight injury from over a week ago, but he has looked very good here today running the football. But as you said, he is coming off that field ever so gingerly.
Horde now has 152 yards. Last year against the Buckeyes, he rambled for 158. So he's almost equaled last year's total against Ohio State.
And he is getting a big hand from the Michigan side of the field as these fans are proving of his running ability. Vince Clark running him down from behind, shoestring tackle, and he does hit the canvas pretty hard after that shoestring tackle. And Horde is now on the Michigan sidelines on the bench.
Ohio State trails by 2 points. The Michigan touchdown, an extra point, would give the Wolverines a 9-point advantage. Buckeyes must stiffen and force the field goal. Pile up at the 6-yard line. Boy, the Buckeyes stuffed that play. still Michigan possession as Gary Moeller and Bo Schembechler map out strategy on second down.
Well, down close, Michigan has been using pretty exclusively the wishbone formation. It's been pretty good for them. Buckeyes did a nice job on that last time possession of Michigan, trying to run the football on an option.
Michael Taylor calling signals. He has Callaway flanked wide left. He's out there all by himself on single coverage. He looks to him, and it is broken up out of the end zone. No good. Foster Polk was on Callaway in the corner. Pretty good cover job by Foster Polk. That ball was well thrown.
Foster Polk never looked for the football, but managed to get his hand up there. Callaway couldn't quite find the handle. As you see, Callaway making an inside move, and he's breaking free at this point. Polk is beat. He doesn't look for the ball, but he reaches up to dislodge it. And it's very close, and Ohio State escapes a bullet at that point.
Buckeyes need to force a fourth down field goal attempt. It's third and goal from outside the 5. McMurtry split to the left this time. Pass in the flat. Touchdown! Across the goal line. Michigan has an 8-point lead. Carlson to try the point after. And he's right down the center. And that gives the Wolverines a 9-point lead, 21-12, 12:22 left in this game. Mr. Bunch of Michigan on the sideline as we see him waltz into the right flat and take the toss from Taylor.
Well, he does go to the right flat to take the toss from Taylor, but Michigan sends motion across with Callaway, and then Vincent Clark goes over too far from the pass-back position. He's supposed to be right on Bunch right now, but he comes up late. And when he does come up late, it's a little bit too late, and it's a touchdown pass for Michigan. From the ground level shot, looking at Taylor, electing to go all the way. He's locked on to Bunch, and Vince Clark coming up late to make the tackle, but Bunch gets into the end zone for the 6-pointer.
Meanwhile, Leroy Horde being examined on the Michigan sideline. His status for the rest of this game is in doubt at this point. Olive a yard deep into the wedge, gets to the 21. 12:17 left in this game. Buckeyes trail by 9. Otis Williams skipped downfield for Michigan to make the hit on Olive. As you take a look at the large bowl here in Ann Arbor, Michigan Stadium. A lot of attention focused on Horde in the first half because of his fine running. He's been banged up here in the second half. Play action, Fry. Throws it wide at Graham. Scotty Graham was angling beyond the 25. Big Michigan defensive lineman or two around him. May have had a difficult time seeing Scotty Graham well.
Well, Michigan has started to apply a little bit more pressure on Greg Fry. Ohio State is going to have to do a better job of protecting him.
This is Scotty Graham, dropped at the 24. Trip Welburn came up to stick Graham, leaving the Bucs 6 short of a first down. We noticed that Mike Curry is in for Carl Coles now, and an offensive guard spot for John Cooper's Buckeyes. Down to 11:45 left in the contest. Very critical play call coming up. Beatty split to Fry's left. Jeff Graham at the bottom of your picture to the right. Play clock is at 3 seconds. Fry with time. This is Palmer. He's got a first down, rambling out to the 43. Trip Welburn caught up with Palmer. He's been pretty elusive today.
Palmer from a tight position at the tight end post, coming from left to right on an angle pattern. Buckeyes will send all the receivers deep, allowing the zone coverage to take place. Then Palmer will slide out and come back across the middle, makes a big catch. Welburn trying to strip the football from him. Welburn electing to go after the football. Smart play by Welburn. However, as we see 95 J.J. Grant coming off the field, the fine inside linebacker for the Wolverines.
Line of scrimmage beyond the 42. 1st and 10 for Ohio State. Scotty Graham picks his way, lunges to the 47. 4.5-yard gain on first down. Chris Hutchinson, defensive tackle, and John Milligan, a backup linebacker, upset Scotty Graham. We're down to 10.5 minutes to go in the 4th quarter. Dante Lee dots the I now behind Graham. Option play. Fry keeps it, slips to about the 49 or 50. That leaves the Buckeyes a 3rd and a long 2, close to 3 coming up as Teeter and Anderson sandwiched Fry after a short advance. Big play for the Buckeyes. Ohio State needs 2.5 yards. Fry in the flat. Scotty Graham, first down and more. To the 37. Well-conceived play.
Scotty Graham doing it all for the Buckeyes today, rushing, a big day rushing for him, well over 100 yards, well over 140 yards to be precise, and now catching the ball out of the backfield. Scott Graham has been the point of action for Ohio State here in the second half, doing a great job for the Buckeyes.
And Brutus is turned on, isn't he? Minutes left in the contest. First down, Ohio State. Outside the 36 of Michigan. This is Dante Lee bouncing it to the outside. He's got daylight to the 22. He had one man to beat. A 15-yard scamper by Dante Lee, who almost shook loose all the way. Trip Welburn upended him.
From the I formation, Dante Lee really picks the spot just right here as he shakes and bakes and makes something happen. If it wasn't for Trip Welburn, Dante Lee would be in for the 7-pointer. Nice move by Dante, cutting off Moxley's block, and Welburn just makes a shoestring tackle to keep Dante from going all the way.
Stave line split to the bottom of your picture. Jeff Graham to the top. This is Scotty Graham. He has an opening, plowing to about the 16. Productive run on first down of 6 yards. Eric Anderson dropped Graham. Chris Hutchinson helped. Very assertive effort by the Ohio State offense. That front wall doing the job against Michigan's defense. Here in the fourth period, Buckeyes need points to get back in this game. Dante Lee has checked in. Graham split left. Under 8.5 minutes to go, fourth quarter. Buckeyes at a 2nd and 3. Scotty Graham has an opening, churns to about the 10. He's got a first down. Mike Teeter spilled Graham. First and 10 for the Buckeyes, who can get a first down inside the 1. Ohio State had a similar situation earlier in this game when they began a series with a first down outside the 10 by just a foot or so. You might as well say it's goal to go. Graham flank left, now in motion. Fry looks that way. Graham at the 6, to the 4. Alex Marshall wrapped up Jeff Graham. But Graham stood his ground and fought for every inch, Paul.
Jeff Graham coming in motion and breaking upfield and then slanting out to the right sideline. Makes the catch, turns up and tries to split the two Michigan defenders' plate on the play and makes as much yardage as he possibly can. Jeff Graham, the leading receiver for Ohio State, coming into the ball game with 22 pass receptions on the year.
Second down. Graham split on the left hash. This is Scotty Graham. He's over. Touchdown.
Scott Graham running right through a hole and just pounding his way right over for the touchdown. Running behind Jim Palmer, number 85, who gets a key block at the point of attack. Scott Graham getting in for the second time this afternoon for the Buckeyes.
Extra point try by O'Moro. This would cut the lead to 2. It's on the way. It's blocked. Veda Murray got a piece of it. 7:04 to go in the game. Michigan leads Ohio State 21-18.
Again, the two deep backs, Welburn and also Veda Murray, going up very high, timing this low kick. Obviously coming in this ball game, Michigan felt that they could block Ohio State's kicks with the vertical leaps of their two defensive backs. And Trip Welburn this time is the man who made that block before it was Veda Murray. So Michigan on 2 occasions, key occasions, have stopped Ohio State from at least possibly 4 points in this ball game with blocked extra point try and also a field goal try.
Well, let's take a look back at Ohio State football these past 100 years. We'd like for you to give some thought to this question. Who holds the Buckeye record of 48 consecutive games with a catch? 48 games in a row with at least a reception in each of those contests. Here are your choices. A, Paul Warfield. B, Doug Donnelly. C, Gary Williams. And D, Jack Kramer.
Well, you almost can eliminate 2 of them.
Well, let's see. You're leaving me left as one of the 2 possible choices. And we'll have the answer for you in just a few moments. Trip Welburn is the man on the telephone for Michigan, talking upstairs to one of Bo Schembechler's colleagues.
Well, Jack, as I said, obviously Michigan came into this ball game thinking that they could block extra point and field goal tries, and thought that they saw that O'Morrow was kicking the ball with a low trajectory. They've gotten 2 in this ball game, so they've done a good job with it.
Well, that block kick ended a long string of 64 in a row by O'Morrow. He had 64 consecutive PATs until that miss. O'Morrow kicking it off, and he scoops it into the air. Fair catch at the 30. McMurtry hauls it in. So the Wolverines will start from just beyond their 30-yard stripe with 7:04 left in this game. Each team with 3 timeouts left. And it's 21-18. Michigan leading by 3.
Well, it's important for the Buckeye defense to stop the Wolverines and give their offense at least one more try at this football.
And the last time Ohio State scored a touchdown, Michigan came right back and got one of its own. Michael Taylor at the helm for the Wolverines. This is Bunch. Down he goes at the 32. He gained just a yard. And who else but Steve Tovar. Tovar appears to be shaken up. And he'll sit out one play. Judah Herman is checked in for Tovar. The play gained just a yard. Herman was shaken up earlier in this contest. Second and a long 8 for Michigan, nearly 9. Fake draw. Taylor wants to throw. He's pinched in. He'll lose a couple Buckeyes. Down he goes. Herman makes a nice open field tackle at the 33, setting up a 3rd and 8 for the Wolverines. Six minutes and 10 seconds to go. Superb play by Herman. Tovar is checked back in. Well, I spoke too soon. Tovar not in for this 3rd down play as the Buckeyes feature the nickel package. Darrell Lewis is on. We're down to 5 minutes and 47 seconds and counting. Jefferson in motion. Taylor. He's in a little trouble. Completion to the 42. Bunch hung on to it. He clutched it for a 1st down with a yard to spare.
Well, Michael Taylor, great escape artist and great ability to run the football, bought some time back in the pocket. Ohio State had converged in on him, but they couldn't quite get him.
Bunch nearly coughed up that pigskin. So the Wolverines get 4 new downs. Clock is winding down toward the 5-minute mark. This is Jefferson. He's saddled at the 45. Forward progress to the 46. Coleman hung on to him.
Good offensive line plays. We see Coleman and number 54 right in there, Pat Thomas, fighting off blockers and making the tackle.
Rest assured, the Wolverines are going to keep the ball inbounds. Last thing they want to do is stop the clock. Tovar is now on for Ohio State at linebacker. This is Jefferson. Fine tackle by Iseman as he spills. Jefferson for a setback of a couple.
Derek Iseman from his linebacking play reads this play very quickly, slips through the hole, and makes the tackle on the other side of the line of scrimmage, stopping Jefferson. Very fine play by Derek Iseman. Ohio State's got to come up with the big plays. They need them right now. They have to stop this Michigan team.
Buckeye defense is looking at Michigan's second straight third down. We are at 4 minutes left in this game. McMurtry flanked about 7 yards to the left of Taylor. He looks that way. He dropped it. McMurtry could not hang on. Pass was a little bit behind him, but it was catchable. Michigan's got to kick it with 3:53 to go. Foster Polk was in the area.
Michael Taylor not very happy with himself as he didn't make a real good throw. Talking now to offensive coordinator Gary Moeller. Greg McMurtry, top receiver of the Michigan Wolverines, could not quite find the handle on that low throw.
Stapleton back at his 31. The wind is at his back. Plenty of room, gets it away. Olive can return this one 10 yards or so. He gets back about 13 or 14 yards. Bobby Olive squirming out to the 34. Buckeyes have 3 timeouts. 3 minutes and 42 seconds to go. Down by 3. Well, we look back at 100 years of Ohio State football a few minutes ago with a question for you to ponder. And it read, who holds the Buckeye record of 48 consecutive games with a catch? A, Paul Warfield. B, Doug Donnelly. C, Gary Williams.
Okay.
What's your answer, Jack? I'll try Gary Williams.
I'll double that. And the correct answer is Gary Williams, C.
All right.
But Todd Plate shaken up on that punt coverage. He's had a good game today.
Came up with a key interception here in the second half and subsequently led to a Michigan touchdown.
And broke up a pass in the end zone earlier intended for Jeff Graham.
He certainly did. So he's played well, and he's been a very focal member of this Michigan secondary.
Oh, the Buckeye Rooters are on their feet. Ohio State on offense has a chance to pull this game out of the fire. Scotty Graham and Dante Lee are split behind Fry. A substitution for the Wolverines. Dwayne Ware is in the secondary now. Scotty Graham trying to pop it to the outside. Can't go. Eric Anderson and the Maize and Blue strung that play out. It results in a loss of 2.
Anderson, the linebacker, shooting up, playing off a block by Dante Lee and slowing up Scotty Graham. And then other tacklers, Trip Welburn coming in, and rest of the Michigan gang getting in on the tackles. Bobby Abrams to stop Scott Graham.
Eric Anderson led the charge for the Wolverines. Dante Lee is split alongside Graham. Straight drop by Fry. Down the middle, he's got Beatty. Intercepted by Plate. Murray, the Wolverines shaken up. There was quite a collision in the vicinity of the 40-yard line on this intercept.
Greg Fry going back looking for Beatty over the middle. He throws the ball. This is just a great interception by Plate. Todd Plate steals the football away from Beatty. Difficult to see how Plate could get in between Beatty's body and the ball, but he made a great interception, pulling it away, perhaps pulling it away from Greg Beatty. on the long reception, intercepted by Plate, and converging on the ball, number 27 Murray is hit by his own man Plate, who intercepts the ball, and Murray went down on the field. Murray, of course, blocked a field goal try earlier in the ball game. He and Trip Welburn has been very instrumental on the point after touchdown try and field goal tries and blocking a couple of kicks, and he's played a very strong game in the secondary today.
Veda Murray, the fine Michigan free safety who played his high school football at Cincinnati Moeller, and he was part of that sandwich that occurred when Plate seemingly just stole the ball right out of the arms of Beatty.
Of course, the crowd has quietened considerably, Jack, and of course with the seriousness, Veda Murray still down on the field and being attended to by the Michigan staff and Michigan coaches. Bo Schembechler and all out there. Again, another look with Greg Fry throwing a post pattern over the middle intended for Greg Beatty. Todd Plate, number 6, comes in, steals the football, and then hits Veda Murray up, apparently obviously accidentally, but hit him up around the area of the shoulders, and Murray still down on the Michigan turf right now and being attended to by the Michigan medical staff.
Bo Schembechler and a few of the Michigan coaches are on the field checking on Veda Murray.
Well, they're being very careful with this procedure, as they should be, and putting him on a stretcher and making sure that his body is being moved very gingerly, and they want to make sure that no unnecessary movement occurs in this situation.
Ohio State head coach John Cooper also came out to check on Veda Murray. Everyone here at Michigan Stadium very concerned. And it's very important at this point that Murray be immobilized as well as possible as he's being moved to the cart, which will take him off the floor of Michigan Stadium. Well, there have been a dozen or 15 jarring tackles which have resulted in players being shaken up, injured. Numerous players have limped to the sideline today. It has been a very physical Ohio State-Michigan game, as most all of them have been down through the years. And the 101,000 plus here at Michigan Stadium sit in silence as Murray is being examined and taped to the platform on which he rests.
Making sure, Jack, that he, as you said before, is completely immobilized so that there's no possible chance for any movement to occur, so that they can take him on to be examined.
Ohio State head coach John Cooper joining in the round of applause here at Michigan Stadium. As we mentioned, Murray played his high school football at Moeller in Cincinnati. Murray was an outstanding several sport athlete in high school in the Queen City. So following that hit at the 40-yard line, which nearly took the breath away of most everybody here at Michigan Stadium, play now resumes. The Wolverines have a 1st and 10 at their own 41. Jefferson knocked off his feet at the 40. Buckeyes will use a timeout and stop the clock at 2:40. And you've got to believe that the Buckeyes will use timeouts after the 2nd and 3rd down plays too, Paul.
They're going to have to. Greg Fry over on the Ohio State bench with his head placed down in his hands, pondering and obviously hoping for another chance to get on the football field to run the offense one more time. Derek Eisman made a very fine stop on that last play, and Michigan got very limited yardage. It looked like the play was about ready to spring with Jefferson breaking through the hole, but Derek Eisman came from his linebacking position, stopped him cold.
There was no gain on the play, so Michigan will have a 2nd and 10 coming up. And of course, the Wolverines with a 1st down or 2 could just about salt this game away, as they would force the Buckeyes to exhaust all of their timeouts.
Well, the Buckeyes have got to gamble a little bit on defense to stop the Wolverines and make the plays. They're going to have to overcompensate in one area or another against the run. They may be a little bit more vulnerable if Michigan elects to throw a pass in this situation, but it's something they have to do.
McMurtry is flanked about 15 yards to the right. Callaway 5 yards to the left. He's in motion. Taylor, a late pitch to Jefferson. He's hemmed in, surges to about the 46. He's 5 yards shy of a 1st down. Foster Polk came up to put the pinch on the ball carrier. Pat Thomas assisted. Buckeyes trail by 3 at 21-18 as you look at Jefferson retreating to the huddle. Difference in this game, Paul, 3 points.
3 points, and we're coming up on the biggest play in perhaps the entire ball game. Ohio State is going to have to stop it. The difference is the blocked field goal and, of course, the blocked point after touchdown.
We're down to 1:57. Crucial play coming up here. Taylor throwing. It is incomplete. A flag flies. It looked like a push-off is going to be called against Ohio State. It was a late flag. The ball did not appear to be catchable as it sailed far over the head of the receiver and defender. That spells trouble.
Well, they're going to call it on David Brown, but that ball was not catchable whatsoever. But I don't believe that's the ruling. And they're going to call it on. Let me check that and see. There's hands on the receiver, but that's Vince Clark on the play. But it certainly was not flagrant. I mean, he did not noticeably push, shove, or hold him.
Well, in the college game, it doesn't have to be catchable. Now, in the pro game, that flag might have been waved off.
It looked like more incidental contact than anything else. But that is a tough call against Ohio State and for the Buckeyes.
And the Wolverines get 4 new downs. The Buckeyes have just 2 timeouts to go, and John Cooper is red hot. This is Jefferson. He's helmeted down at the 37. He gained 3. Rich Frimmel and Derek Eisman in there on the tackle. Vincent Clark came up to assist. Buckeyes have called another timeout at 1:44. Clock stops. It's just too bad that Michigan's drive was continued as a result of a penalty. This is Jefferson trying to skirt left in. Buckeyes string it out. Does he go out of bounds? Yes, he does. Clock stops at 1:37. Buckeyes get a break there. Jefferson kept trudging to the sideline. His momentum carried him to the boundary. Buckeyes helped him a little bit, of course.
Well, they strung the play out and played it as well as you'd like to see a team play it defensively, but the thing that happened on that play was the back Jefferson, he would have been better off if he had just fallen to the ground. It would have allowed the clock to continue running. So that's a break for Ohio State.
Now this is a 3rd and 6 coming. Wolverines have converted 2 third downs. Buckeyes were offside. A juggle and a catch at the 27. It's a 1st down. Buckeyes may have jumped the gun at the line of scrimmage. It looked like it was Spellman.
As you see McMurtry breaking on a short out, Foster Pollock playing as extended, have the arms on the catch. Very fine catch by Greg McMurtry. Foster Polk playing as usual 7-8 yards away from the receiver. You're giving up a little bit too much ground. In a situation like that, you got to gamble and come up and play bump and run.
This is Bunch plowing for about 3 or 4 inside the 25. Buckeyes call a timeout. That's, I believe, the Buckeyes' last one. Tight ends on the field. This is Bunch barreling inside the 15 to the 5. He is over. Game when the Buckeyes were bunched up on the line of scrimmage for a 3rd and very short yardage. Horde broke a long one. He got through that first wave of Buckeyes, then it was all she wrote. Bunch just did the same thing. Extra point by Carlson. It's good. 1:20 to go. Michigan leads Ohio State 28-18.
Play, Jared Bunch take this handoff and splits the Ohio State defense, and this play is gone immediately as he goes right through center and right guard. Right guard getting a good block, Matt Elliott on Tovar, and then Bunch just carries Foster Pollock and also Vince Clark right into the end zone.
Well, the deficit is 10. The score looks much more lopsided than the way this game has been played. Buckeyes have put up a very strong effort against an outstanding Michigan team, which really, Paul, is just a tackle away from perhaps being #1 in the country.
Well, Michigan really a tackle away, 5 points away, whatever you want to say, but they've been outstanding since losing to Notre Dame earlier in the year. And Ohio State has played fine football here this afternoon. And a couple of plays here or there, a couple of blocked tries of the field goal and point after touchdown. And this is a much closer ball game than this current 28-18 score indicates.
You'd better believe it. That touchdown by Bunch does not take any luster off this Ohio State performance at all, that's for sure. A tremendous effort by the Buckeyes. Football is dropped. It's picked up. It looked like by Beatty, the center, and he rambled ahead for about 5. Buckeyes cannot stop the clock. We're down to a minute. Fry Grant racing forward, hits Olive in the middle. He's smacked at the 43. It's a first down. Clock will be halted as the chain is advanced. Buckeyes playing out the string, going after the Wolverines right down to the wire. Of course, this has been typical of John Cooper's club all year long, coming into this game 8-2. And certainly this performance today silences those critics who thought the Buckeyes had played a weak schedule. Pass broken up across the 50 as Grant nearly pulled off the intercept. There were some critics, Paul, who said well, Ohio State's played a soft schedule and the 8-2 record is a fluke. But I think the Bucks have silenced those critics here today. Tremendous effort by Ohio State.
No doubt about it. Michigan, of course, as you said, only 5 points away from perhaps being the national champion. Outstanding Michigan football team, and Ohio State has played extremely well here today.
Fry hits his tight end in the middle at the 49. Palmer wrapped up at that point. We're down to 32 seconds and counting. John Cooper's Buckeyes finished the regular season 8-3. Fry rifling it. It is caught by Graham on the loose. Down to the 22. Buckeyes still clawing right down to the bitter end. Clock stops at 17 ticks. Chain is advanced forward. Fry in the middle of Scotty Graham. He gets to about the 12. He is stopped short of a first down. It was a first down. Clock did stop. Fry over the middle for Palmer. No good at the 2. The clock is at 0. It's all over. As Bo Schembechler's Michigan Wolverines turn back the Buckeyes in the regular season finale here at Michigan Stadium. It's been a great season. Fine performance for the Buckeyes, who finished the regular campaign 8-3, and we look forward to Ohio State in the bowl game. So for Steve Bassford on stats, Jim Henderson, our spotter, and for Paul Warfield, this is Jack Kramer saying so long from Michigan Stadium, where the Buckeyes have fallen to the Wolverines 28-18.